spray that in the lawn, because if you do, you kill the lawn. But you have other sprays called lawn weed killers, and they kill the weeds but not the grass. How's that possible? Well, some chemist somewhere found a metabolic pathway unique to 1,000 varieties of weeds, but it's a pathway that doesn't exist in normal grass. So it kills the weeds but not the grass. Excellent example of that is a lot of bacteria use PABA to make folic acid. So we create a drug that blocks this pathway. So if this bacteria is in our body and we take this drug and we block this pathway, what happens to the bacteria? It dies. Why doesn't it affect us? Because we can't do this anyway. We get our folic acid in our diet. We're not capable of doing this. So again, pest control. Doesn't matter whether it's lawn weeds, bugs in your house. The pest control people come and spray around the edges of the house. Well, let's hope it doesn't kill the puppy. The German Shepherd's okay, but the Chihuahua's small, it dies. The teenagers live, but the little 2-year-old children, it can't work like that. You've got to find a unique metabolic pathway. This works because we get this in our diet. I know, here's how we'll eradicate the pest. We'll make a drug that shuts down the Krebs cycle. That's going to work well. We'll make a drug to kill weeds that inhibits photosynthesis. That's going to work well. So you have to find something unique to the pathogen. All right, so we thought this was no big deal, reverse transcriptase inhibitor. Well, it didn't work so well because the viruses, well, not just viruses, but viruses and bacteria mutate so rapidly that they became resistant. If you think a man and a woman have a baby, it takes 9 months. One microorganism can become 1 million in 24 hours. It takes us 9 months to make one baby. So the rate of mutation and the rate of resistance and all that is just through the roof, and we can't keep up with it. This also takes us back to those few words, the indiscriminate prescribing of antibiotics. You're sick, you want an antibiotic. You don't want to go have your blood drawn and a white cell count and a diff count. You don't want to wait. You want the prescription now. So the doc gives you a prescription for Augmentin. The big guns, something that kills everything except the one bug that's resistant. So anyway, you know, it took a lot of time to figure it all out, but we have more success with these cocktails where you attack the virus from many different angles. So reverse transcriptase inhibitors can be used and are used against RNA viruses. And the first one, the one you've probably heard of, was or is AZT. I can't think of the name of it. If anybody knows it, call it out and I'll write it on the board. There's a really cool movie, and it's based on truth about AZT when it was brand new. You can stream it on Netflix. So if anybody knows what I'm talking about, I'll be glad to write it on the board.
The Dallas Buyers Club, that was more about.
Yes. Yeah. What's it called?
Dallas Buyers Club.
That movie's so good.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
if you have Netflix, it's worth your hour or two to watch. It's really, really good. And it just shows how corrupt we are in the government and everything. They didn't want this to get out. And they were using it in the wrong way. And because they were using it in the wrong way, it was making people sicker instead of getting them better. And they didn't want any of the truth to get out, because where's the big money in pharmacology? Not in cures. We've got a cure for AIDS. There's no money in that. I'm surprised we got a cure for Hep C. There's no money in that. The cure's in keep them sick, man. Treat them forever. That's where the money is. Isn't that sick? Welcome to the United States. What? Probably. Probably. That's why they don't tell us that milk is toxic. They want us to drink it so we get sick. All that stuff we learned as children. Drink your milk. Bull. Did you know that animal protein causes cancer? Animal protein kills you. If the truth got out, the dairy industry would go away, the cattle industry, the hog, it would all disappear. Of course, I'd still eat it all. I love it. But anyway, that's a story for another day. DNA replication. Inhibitors. DNA and RNA viruses. Don't have a movie for this one. Oh God, somebody Google this spelling for me. Something like that. That's the generic name, the brand names, something like that. Again, check the spelling on all of these.
Cyclovir's right.
So those are just two different brands of the same drug.
What about that new, maybe not new, that new drug given, it's like a nasal spray. If you think you have the flu, you test positive for the flu, you can get it from the doctor.
Yeah.
Tamiflu.
Yeah.
Is that
I don't know. I asked my actual primary about it, and he said he hasn't had any success with it. So that's just the opinion of one
Seems like a bunch of-
physician, though.
How is it that I mean, I think it's people's bodies, obviously, and their immunity and stuff, but like, how do people, like, I don't understand why people die from getting the flu. Like, in a regular person that can be healthy.
Okay, well, just real quick. So if you're otherwise unhealthy or compromised, you're more susceptible to anything. So the very young and the very old are at a greater risk of dying from the flu or pneumonia than your typical 20 to 60-year-old healthy person. You've no doubt taken biology, so you have some concept of the scientific method. You know, it doesn't matter what you think, what your gut tells you, you've got to conduct a study, you know, hypothesis, all of that. So we did all of that with HIV. The question was, how come when quote-unquote normal healthy people, you define that however you want to do it, how come when normal healthy people become HIV positive, they're not as likely to develop AIDS as when homeless people, prostitutes, IV drug addicts, when they get HIV, they're more likely to develop AIDS. And they again, it was a proper study. They eliminated the variable insofar as drugs. So the answer is not, well, the normal healthy person has a job and insurance and they get the drugs, and the homeless IV prostitute drug addict doesn't have a job, no insurance, no Medicaid. No. We're gonna remove those variables. And so the bottom line was, how healthy is the normal healthy person versus how healthy is the homeless IV drug addict prostitute who is sleeping in the rain and the gutter and dumpster diving for their food, and they smoke cigarettes and they smoke marijuana and they're an alcoholic and they shoot heroin and they shoot meth. How healthy are they? They're extremely immunocompromised. And so that's an extreme scenario. A less extreme scenario would be my example of the New York Marathon. The 500 people who ran the marathon, more of them got a cold within 2 weeks than the 500 people who were in the exact same environment but just watched the marathon. So they weren't subjected to that physical stress. All right, we're done. We'll begin respiratory system on
What about allergies?
Wednesday. Allergies, come on, we beat it to death. Allergies. IgE, mast cells, basophils, heparin, histamine.
Okay.